at 85. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance with comfort, safety, and technology. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $1,748 per 1,000 finance in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPNNW.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's begin.
Trip. The Afternoon Underdog Trip. Live and local. Inside the Talk House.
Unleash the dragon.
I'm the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? You are now in the Dog House, riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. We are on 104.3 on your dial. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Getting ready for the weekend. Also, big shout out to all of the fathers, and personally, happy Father's Day to my dad. And of course, gotta give one to my Papa Jack and Grandpa Hayes as well. Hopefully you're all well on this Friday afternoon. Beautiful weather. The sun is out there shining, and it is time to be voting. Thank you guys for nominating the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and the Coach Hale Morning Show as your favorite radio show in the Best of Bay from the News Herald. We're on a mission to be hyper-local, serve the community, and provide our residents and visitors an exciting and entertaining space. To keep your radio fun and positive in Panama City, Lynn Haven, PCB, 30A, and across the County of Bay, go to ESPNPC.com and vote Ryan Mulvey or Coach James Hale for Best Radio Personality in the Best of Bay. And thanks for listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Did have the opportunity to chat with Ryan a little bit via text message, so I guess it wasn't a chat, but he is doing well. He sent me a picture of the machine that he's doing proton therapy under, and it looks like a beast of a machine, but he's doing well, and he said he misses everybody and can't wait to get back. Also want to tell you guys about the Janoris Robinson Win Within football and cheer camp. That's going to be June 28th, but today is your last day to register. This is going to be at Tommy Oliver Stadium, 1st through 8th grade. It's going to come with your lunch and t-shirt included from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on June 28th. I'm sure you can get on Facebook and type in Janoris Robinson or the Win Within camp, and you'll be able to find that. He's been doing that for 3, 4, maybe longer than that, but a great impact on the community. And Janoris Robinson now with the Kansas City Chiefs, hoping to make an impact over there. You guys can call or text us here in the CBC Construction Studios. Just go to the Red 7T phone line, calling us at 850 or texting us 850-215-6290. And the sponsor of the studio, CBC Construction. You can go to their website at cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick and the Bone Crusher.
Hey, Pookie.
And Morgan not with us, but how's it going, Bone Crusher? You doing all right today?
Yeah, I saw Caveman Rick spring up out of his seat. I've never seen that man move so fast. I don't know what was going down in there.
He's just trying his 40 timeout this afternoon. Yeah,
got good reflexes, Joe.
He was like Shaq on the set of TNT. Like, doesn't matter. Oh, the mics are about to crack. Doesn't matter. It's time to go. Got to go when you got to go. Doing all right today, Caveman Rick?
Yeah, can't complain. Except for just trying to catch my breath now. But outside of that, doing pretty good.
I will give you time to catch your breath as Coastal Carolina and Arizona in a bit of a dogfight. Coastal Carolina showing you how impressive that pitching staff is, but a close game. Well, it was a close game. Then Coastal Carolina broke it open in the bottom of the 8th. So we're in the 9th inning here. I believe the score is 7-4, but Arizona just started the 9th inning off with a double. So runner on second, nobody out. And here we are in the opening game of the College World Series. Coastal Carolina with a 3-run lead. That will also help the spirits out of Ryan Mulvey. We're going to have Wright State Chris on the line with us today at 5:20. We'll be talking all things College World Series. He played baseball at Wright State, so he's got a great mind for the sport of college baseball. Joining us today at 5:20. At 4:20, we're going to be talking with our MLB guy, Chris Gollin. He'll join us to talk about the latest going on in the sport. But he also has a question for us, and I have a question for him. His question for us, and I guess he's going to dive into it, is should ESPN in-game TV interviews continue? And he has an example that he wants to give us. Caveman Rick, there's also a conversation that we've been having, a debate lately. And it has to do with the rules of baseball, but it's more a scoring rule, and that's the fielder's choice. You don't like that. I'll just let you explain it, and then we'll talk more about it, much more, I'm sure, at 4:20 with Chris Gollin. Oh, I told you we were going to be having this conversation.
It doesn't matter.
Here we go.
I mean, I just gotta the way they score it sometimes, I just think it's kind of dumb, and it's detrimental to a hitter.
It's detrimental to a hitter.
Yeah, okay, so you do your job, you put the ball into play, you hustle, you get to first base, and you get there before the ball gets thrown there to tag you out or get to the base to force you out, right? So, okay, if the fielder that, catches that ball likes to, say they're going for a double play, they throw it to second to get the out there, to force out, then they're throwing it at first base, and they don't make it over there, and they get it scored as an error.
Well, it's not scored as an error. It's scored as a fielder's choice.
Well, or scored as a fielder's choice. They don't make the play, or whatever, and you beat the throw, and you don't get credit for the hit, and it's like, why? Why not? I mean, I did what I was asked to do. You did what you're tasked to do in the game. And the defense doesn't make the play, and now it's a detriment to me?
See, so
I don't get that. And to add to that, along with the scoring or whatever, I was just going to add too is when they do the intentional walks.
Yeah,
you're taking a bat out of a hitter's hand, and you're electing, it's your choice to put him on base because you're thinking in your mind giving up just a single, essentially, giving him first base is better than what he might be able to do as far as knocking in runs or what have you. So because you're doing that, I should get credit for a hit. You're doing that. I could have gotten a double. I could have got a triple. Could have got a home run. You're taking that opportunity away from me.
Intentional walk, I can listen to that part of the debate and be like, all right, you have a little bit of you have a point there that you took the bat out of the player's hands right there. And so it shouldn't. But the hard part that I have is it's with an intentional walk, it shouldn't help your average out though. So that's, I guess, where I'm at on that. On the fielder's choice, though, you did not do your job. Your job is to move the runner over, not replace the runner on first base. So that's not doing your job. Now, there's a myriad of different ways that we can look at the fielder's choice, and we'll try to dive into as many as we can. But this is a conversation that me and you have been having, and you won't back off of your side, and there's no way. And I'm normally the easier one to convince. If I'm not right about something, I feel pretty easily swayed.
You're a
when
baseball guy.
Right.
You're setting the rules. I think the way the game is.
Exactly, though. That's I don't think that you'll have many people agree with you.
A lot of people are probably going to argue that because it's kind of like it's old rule, it's old way of looking at it. And people don't want to change
it's 1900s.
And like baseball's, game of a bunch of old rules, unwritten rules, junk like that. They don't want to change. They don't want to like do anything to make the game any more new, if you will, or like, with the changing times. So I kind of understand the mentality in that sense. But like I said, it is a detriment to the hitter, and to their average. And then, like I said, even with the intentional walk, again, like, you're taking the bat out of my hands. I could have got a hit. I could be improving my average, and you're not letting me do that,
Adam Goff also brings up another good point. Because you're big on the batting average. You like the batting average.
Well, I just think, okay, so when it comes to, like, there's a lot of nerds out there in analytics, right? There's OBS and there's, you can go down, like, a million different rabbit holes of a bunch of different numbers, to score different stuff.
Right.
Batting average is like the old sacred number that's really mattered for years. It's always like, as anybody can bat over 400 for a season. You always talk about, triple crown, for the hitters, and batting average is one of them. So I mean, like, if all the others mattered, I think they'd be talked about more, they'd be celebrated more. But I think as far as like the old heads go and everything, batting average is the king. That's what matters. Like for a hitter, is what the average is.
And I think in that realm, or in that particular argument, you would have a much higher split, right? And in terms of what people, and I think the demographic would be correct, right? Your older people are going to look more at the average, but I think people, baseball fans that are still huge fans of it today, the way that it is played today, I think that they're going to be looking more at OBP and even more, as Adam Goff texted in, OPS. So for me, OBP really I look at that stat more importantly, I would say, than batting average. OPS is a huge one as well, but I think, and I will say this for fielder's choice, that I do think when you hit into a fielder's choice, a double play, your batting average and your on base percentage should not be adversely affected. I'll say that when you hit into a double play, or that's hard. When you hit into a double play, I feel like your average should still be, your average should be adversely affected, but your on base percentage should, you got on base. Which is kind of like your point.
That's the whole point. You're hurting their stats. You're hurting somebody's statistics. They did what they're, like I said, are asked to do.
But that's not what you're asked to do as a baseball player.
It is. As a hitter, you're asked to get on base, and you're asked to put the ball in the play, and that's what you just did.
When a runner gets on first base, now your job is to move him over.
It doesn't change. You're still tasked with getting a hit, man. Because whether it's a single, double, triple, home run, whatever, it's like fundamentals, bare minimum. You go out there, the ball's thrown across the plate or in that area, and you're trying to hit the ball.
But your goal, it's the same reason why in football you have a tush push. Why? Because our goal is no longer 10 yards, it's a few inches.
It's like a 1 yard.
So the same thing, your goal changes, your job description changes when a runner gets on first base, when a runner gets on second base, when a runner gets on third base.
Again, if
you got a runner on third base, are you going to, and there's less than 2 outs, your job is to do what? Get the runner home.
The defense didn't make the play. They didn't do their job, okay? The defense did not make the play.
Yes, they did. Their job is to get the lead runner.
They're essentially getting credit, like, in a way, because, like I said, my batting average is at a detriment now, and I didn't do anything wrong. I did my job.
You did.
No, you didn't.
Because if there's not a runner on first base, and we're done with the argument right here, and we can pick back up with Chris.
This is a what if. This is a what if again.
It's not what if,
This is a what if. Like, you're saying, like, it's a guarantee the guy's out. If there doesn't,
if you hit the ball to the shortstop, or you hit the ball to the second baseman, and they're turning two, yes, it's an out. And if it's not an out, it's an error. And which still affects your batting average negatively.
And again, it's got to be scored that way, too, and it's all in perception and stuff like that, and whoever's scoring it and whether it's an error or not.
Yeah, there you go. Call the Red 7T phone line. Give us your thoughts on it. 850-215-6290. David Hayes, Caveman Rick, and the Bone Crusher. The Afternoon Underdogs are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. Like and share the Facebook feed and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Florida State shortstop Alex Lodice has been named the winner of the Dick Hauser Trophy as the National Player of the Year. And that was announced today. He is the third player in FSU history to win the Hauser. He joins J.D. Drew, who did it in 97, and then one of the greatest catchers of all time, and Buster Posey in 2008. He ranked among the national leaders with a batting average of .394. Notice that they don't put the on-base.
It'd probably be 400 if he didn't get in a couple of those, fielder's choices.
There you go. 17 home runs, 18 doubles, 68 RBIs, a .705 slugger percentage, and he only had 5 errors on 216 fielding chances. Let's get over to the phone line. Rob, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What do you got on the fielder's choice?
Who's it? Am I on, David?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay. Well, I just got it picked up when it said fielder's choice. So, okay. Well, my thing is, on the fielder's choice, you don't get credit that as a hit,
Right.
If that's the case, well, I'm not with you. The guy, makes an error, then you should get a base hit. Get credit for a hit. No, you did not get on base safely by getting it and nobody touching the ball. In this day and age, I think there's a lot of questionable plays.
Yeah.
When guys, that they should have made a play and threw you out, but, because it was, they had to go too far to their left or too far to their right. But no, if you hit into a fielder's choice because the fielder made the choice to get the lead runner, you did not advance the lead runner.
I think you should get rid of the error.
Get rid of the error?
Well, here's the thing too: is it's okay if you mess up the play and you get scored an error.
This
the
is
guy,
from
the
a
guy,
Hall of, you got
the guy gets on base, right?
In the Hall of Fame.
The guy gets on base, right?
Yeah.
So you did the error. So the error's already, you didn't get him out. We don't need to score it that way. You didn't get the out.
But there you're not fair to the pitcher because he made the guy ground out to somebody or hit a pop fly.
Fair is the place where you judge pigs and pies.
Foul balls.
That's not an earned run. If you get on by an error. So,
or if you get on by a walk, that's not an earned run.
Yeah, you did because I believe it should be an earned run. If it's not, it should be because you earned your base by not swinging at pitches that you shouldn't be swinging at. So it should you know what I mean?
It's an earned run.
Oh yes, it is. It is an earned run. It is an earned run.
Yeah. Now I think if there's an error made after 2 outs, then anything after that is not classified as an earned run because they should have already gotten the 3rd out. I'm thinking. I'm not. You have to ask your guy that used to do the keep score.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's always fun talking about the rules of baseball in a book that is ever changing, really across the world of sports. But hey, Rob, thanks so much for the call and go Noles, man.
Yeah, you heard it. Talk to you later. See you.
All right, there you go. Your Atlanta Braves tonight here on ESPN Northwest Florida hosting the Colorado Rockies, which the Colorado Rockies had a comeback win against the Giants. I believe they might have won 2 in that series as well. They're up to 13 wins. We're talking about a team who it took them 50 losses to get to 10 wins, and now they've got 13 wins. Are they making, good big moves? No, absolutely not. But this is a time where you would like them to be slumping a little bit more if you're an Atlanta Braves fan. However, it's a time where the Atlanta Braves need to sweep.
Could it be at this time of year now you got teams, I don't want to say taking their foot off the gas, but now it's getting hot, man. We've been playing for a while, and now the Rockies are just benefiting from some maybe some lackluster laziness, not the greatest play by some teams and stuff, and maybe that's kind of helping them out a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if we're going to, use the what if theory on the fielder's choice and how we go about that, then I absolutely believe that you can use that theory there. I'll also say there's slightly some merit to it, and I'm loosely using this, but Aaron Judge wanted the day off versus the Royals. This is what Paul Wilson was saying today on the Inside Drive. He said, and Aaron Judge hit a home run in Game 2 of the series, or Aaron Boone told him, hit a home run in the next game and I'll let you sit. So he sat out in yesterday's game, I believe. So yeah, maybe, Aaron Judge getting a little tired. If Aaron Judge is getting tired, I mean, he's a lot bigger than a lot of other baseball players, but I'm sure some of the guys we're not in the dog days of summer, but we are in the days of summer. So Braves really need a sweep this weekend at Truist Park. Rockies got German Marquez going. He is 2-8, ERA at 7, whip at 1.68, and he struck out 41 batters this year. For the Braves, it's going to be Bryce Elder going. Record is not as good as how he's been pitching, I would say. He's sitting at 2-3, ERA at 4.08, and his whip at 1.17, and he's got 49 strikeouts on the year. A couple of Braves to keep an eye out for. Matt Olson leading the Braves with 14 homers, and he's slugging at 468. Austin Riley, 13 for 43 with 3 doubles, a home run, and 2 ribbies. Not very good numbers right there, which means maybe Austin Riley for a home run parlay tonight. But 1 home run, 10 RBIs over the last 10 games for the Braves over the last 10. They're 2-8. Batting .216 as a team, 4.12 ERA, and they're being outscored by 5 runs. The Rockies are 4-6. They're batting .260. The ERA a little higher than the Braves at 5.87. They've been outscored by 18 runs. The Braves are 25-14 in games when they score or when they record 8 or more hits. The Red 7T phone line is opened up, 850-215-6290. You can go to red7ts.com. They are the brand that brands you. Our text-in question of the day for Father's Day: what's your favorite sports memory with your dad or a father figure? Or just give me a favorite sports memory that you had on Father's Day. If you don't have one of the above, we want everyone to be included. Bone Crusher, you have an opportunity to watch any hockey this year?
No, I haven't really watched much hockey. I can barely squeeze in the Braves games.
And there you go. There you go. Well, the Stanley Cup Finals, we just hit the midway point. Game 4 was last night, and it was another overtime thriller. Go ahead and hit us with that bite.
Now Ekholm. Clock pulls it. Cross-ice pass. Draisaitl towards the net. Score! Leon Draisaitl in overtime. The Edmonton Oilers tie the series 2 games apiece. The Oilers come back from 3 goals down after 1. Draisaitl sets an NHL record with his 4th overtime goal of this postseason.
You mentioned earlier, I believe, maybe it was off the air, how clutch Draisaitl has been this year, really here in this final. And I'm a little surprised Connor McDavid hasn't scored a goal to this point. Not that he hasn't been scoring. He's been dishing the puck out. But Edmonton ties that series up at 2. So 2 really exciting series going on in the NBA and the NHL finals last night. They were down 3-0 in the first period. They came back with 3 in the second. Jake Wallman scores with 7 to go for the Oilers to give them a 1-goal lead. Then Sam Reinhart tying it up with 20 seconds. And as we just heard, Draisaitl winning it for the Oilers in overtime. Game 5 coming up in Edmonton this Saturday, and then more at 5 o'clock this afternoon with Andrew Weiss. Caveman, before we get to the phone line, get to the break and talk with Chris Gollin about some baseball, any thoughts on Game 4 last night?
Just not what I thought was going to happen. I mean, early on, I thought, Florida was taking this game pretty easy, being up 3-0, and I mean, Edmonton's showing you what they got and why they're there, in the Stanley Cup final. It seems like whenever they get their back pushed against the wall, that's when they get some of the best play out of them. And just like normal, when I guess the game's even, I don't want to say they don't play as well, but when they need to, those guys are clutch, especially Draisaitl.
Yeah, absolutely. And to do that amidst a goalie change.
They pulled the goaltender, too.
Yeah, the drama that they've been dealing with just in that position and still rising above it has been a lot of fun. More at 5 with Andrew Weiss. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick time out, but when we get back, on deck with us now is Chris Gollin. So keep it locked in. We'll get him into the batter's box when we get back.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
I
might buy socks from the supermarket. Is that weird?
Yes, that's strange. Supermarket socks?
I support it. You're going to rip every sock anyway.
No, some socks are very nice. And you want to take care of
comfort.
them.
There's a certain level of comfort.
I like supermarket socks.
Well, if you like it, then you like it.
Yeah, you like it, but I assume that you like it because you don't know no better.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. A variety of some sun and likely thunderstorms the rest of the day with temps near 86 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A likelihood of thunderstorms and some clouds tonight and a temperature of 80. About the same tomorrow, around 85 with possible thunderstorms. Partly sunny in the early morning followed by very light rain Sunday and very warm around 85. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
2025 Atlanta Braves, it's time to dial in and start the battle back, which means every game means a little more.
Swung on, lifted towards center field. That might get down. Diving catch and caught by Michael Harris.
Tonight, Truist Park comes alive as the Braves roll back into town to take on the Colorado Rockies live from Atlanta.
Braves pregame coverage begins at 6 o'clock. First pitch, 6:15. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290.
I'm sure that most of you have used a dial telephone before.
The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse, built up by CBC Construction. You can visit their website at cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman, Rick, and the Bone Crusher. We are the Afternoon Underdogs, and you're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. Pop's Pig and Barbecue coming up tomorrow afternoon from 12 to 6 p.m. All proceeds going to benefit hurricane relief efforts spearheaded by Chef Ross. Dinner tickets are going to be $20. He's going to be smoking Piggy Smalls, which is the name of the hog. He's also got some baked beans, I believe coleslaw, Texas toast. So you get the whole plate for $20.
That sounds good.
Yes, sir.
I'm hungry.
That was Notorious P.I.G.
Is it?
Name of the pig or something.
It's okay. Notorious P.I.G. Piggy Smalls. Yeah, oh yes. We actually did the name for a call-in question. Yeah. So it's how about you just combine it? Notorious P.I.G. Piggy Smalls. One of the two is what it is. I think it is Notorious P.I.G. actually.
That's what I thought, yeah.
But I just combined them both because why not? Pool tournament also going to be at 1 p.m. That's going to be $15. All of this in honor of Chef Ross's dad, Ron Pops Robinson, located at the Break Room, 2727 Joan Avenue. Shout out to the sponsors of the event, Golf Plus, Pineapple Willie's, and Team MVP, brought to you by Epic Realty. Shout out to Leanne Swartzen Trooper. Let's get over to the phone line with our MLB writer. It's our guy, Chris Gollin. Chris, how is Flagler Beach treating you?
It is fantastic today. It's a beautiful sunny day here. How are you guys?
Oh, man.
Just fine.
Yeah, doing well. Beautiful weather over this way. Just got done with the opening game of the College World Series where CCU and that strong pitching looks like they're moving forward. And then we also saw something else that we've been seeing a lot this year is the Cubs the Pirates, despite having Paul Skeens on the bump, finding a way, and they might have won the game. I don't know. I saw that it was
they were up 2-1 in the 10th, but I don't know if they finished it off.
The game is over, and the Pirates win. But what'd you think of Paul Skeens' start today, not getting the 7 strikeouts that we need if we were betting on him?
Well, Paul, he did exactly what he needed to do to put his team in position, which was great. It is yet another game another great outing by Paul Skeens where he does not get the win.
Yeah, there you go.
So, feeling for him there with that Pittsburgh offense. I had him down as one of my players to watch today because I made my notes before that game started. And one of the things I was going to bring up was, hey, let's see if Paul Skeens can, get in position for a win despite the Pittsburgh offense. And look at that. We already have the answer. No, he can't.
There you go. Well, Pirates take down the Cubs for our first game of the weekend. Chris, before we dive into one of the games from last night, who was hot last week and who was not?
Well, let's see here. Let me go to where I was. 2 teams stood out to me as being real hot over the past week. I'm really liking the Blue Jays. They are 4-1 dating back to last Sunday. They're staying only 4.5 games out of the Yankees in the AL East, certainly manageable with us not even at the All-Star break yet. And I also really like the Mets, who are on a 6-game winning streak. And they are 5.5 games up in a quite competitive NL East division. So those were 2 that stood out to me as being real good.
There you go. Keeping it National League Central, since we started with the Cubs and the Pirates, rather. Milwaukee Brewers last night. Jacob Misiorowski was removed from his major league debut. He threw 5 no-hit innings and threw a few pitches into the 6th inning and then came off the mound with looked like to be some ankle injury, rolling his ankle. But what'd you think of his debut, him being the number 1 Brewers prospect?
It reminded me of those years ago when Steven Strasburg got called up for the Nationals, and that first start was just electric. I've gotten the chance to see, I can't remember if it was the ball or the jersey from that game in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. I don't know if Misiorowski's debut is quite that significant and iconic,
right?
But it gave me flashbacks to it. And, the guy's 23 years old, 6'7", throws 103. That being said, it was absolutely the right call to remove him when they did. You don't want to roll dice on a guy as young as him in his debut, as fast as he throws. You don't want to mess around with him getting hurt. But luckily, it's looking like it was just some cramping in his right calf and quads. Doesn't look to be too serious.
There you go. And then another pitcher who was in the NL Central, now headed to the American League Central. That's Aaron Savale, who had an issue with the Brewers trying to demote him to the bullpen. He asked for a trade a day late and $1 later, $800,000 to that tune. Savale is now a member of the Chicago White Sox. What do you think of that trade, and what do you think of his decision to want to be traded from the Brewers and, lo and behold, find out he's on the White Sox?
Well, Sibley he's betting on himself. He wants the opportunity to establish himself a firm rotation piece as he comes into free agency this offseason. Yeah. So I like that from him. For the White Sox, this is a bottom third team in the league in pitching. They need a veteran starter more than they need a guy like Andrew Vaughn, who they gave up. So I like it on that level. And I also like that they dealt Vaughn while his trade value as a former top 100 prospect who's not really tearing it up. They dealt him while his value is high, which I think more teams need to do, with these hot commodities who over long enough stretches don't really seem to be panning out all the way. And then for the Brewers, I think they are going to get more usage out of the roster spot to bolster their bullpen. than they were getting with Sibley. So I like it for both teams. I think the Brewers are a little closer to being able to use that to contend this season. But for both of the two teams and for Aaron, I think it makes sense. It's a good trade.
There you go. Good trades, always a good thing to see in Major League Baseball. But most of the time, I don't think it normally works out for both teams as well. We'll have to revisit this one sometime after the trade deadline, see how it worked out for both teams. Should ESPN in-game TV interviews continue, Chris?
Yes. We're going after the host company here. It's interesting because on Sunday, Jazz Chisholm Jr. made a throwing error while he was mic'd up talking to ESPN on Sunday Night Football versus the Red Sox. That kind of sparked some conversation. It's a cool feature. I like it. I like initiatives to get the players' personalities out there and let the fans know them a little bit better. I love that. So I think we need to reevaluate what the venue is for it. All-Star game? Absolutely.
Yep,
Spring
agreed.
Game? Absolutely. Players that are in the dugout? Absolutely. But when they're on the field in the regular season, I really don't think we should be doing things that are diverting their attention away from playing defense, from being aware, from being able to play heads-up baseball. And there's certainly opportunities to accomplish what those interviews accomplish without having the potential for the distraction like you have here. So there's a win-win. I think we just need to tweak that a little bit.
I like the in-game interviews, but I hate them at the same time. I'm surprised that these ever made it to any sort of real regular season game in any sport that is professional. We see it in basketball here in the playoffs. Now, normally it's in between quarters, so it's not while the game is going on. But I still hate that because you're leaving. Now you're making this player answer a question, right? And what do we say all the time? I mean, the announcer jinx. Like there's so many things that you're leaving that you're putting in jeopardy by having someone talk about an event, a game that is not finished. So I don't like it in baseball. I really could care less. I love hearing them. That's the worst part about this. But I just don't think that, like, if I was a coach, no way. And I don't think coaches, that was the one thing with college football. Oh, in between the first and second quarter and in between the third and fourth, we're going to get interviews with the coaches. They need to be worried about what it is that they're doing right then and there the whole entire time. Like, don't distract them. Go talk to a fan or something. I'd rather hear that, I think, than, trying to get the thought process of what the coach is doing right now. And what do we, 90% of the time from the coaches, we're getting coach speak anyways.
No, absolutely. I mean, in the MLB, they take such steps to ensure that the fans are not interfering with the game. If you reach out for a live ball, you're going to get ejected, maybe even banned. Why are we having it where the broadcast is able to interfere with the play of the game? It's like there's great. It's great when it doesn't happen like that, but I'm with you. I'm kind of surprised this got approved at all the hurdles that it did.
It's probably in the TV contract. They probably got it wrote in when they made the deal to give the league all this money, and by the way, when you guys are on our network, we want to be able to do this, and it's not an everyday thing. So I'm sure they said, okay, we can do that for, how many billions was it again? Oh, okay, yeah, we're good. Yeah.
I'm curious if the MLBPA thinks about it. I haven't read that from their angle.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Again, less money for the players. So of course, the Players Association's probably going to be more money.
Yeah.
Again, money is what makes everything happy. Yeah.
And in that situation, you're not just talking about 1, 2, 3 players. You're talking about the totality.
Everybody, the whole entire league.
So they're all going to vote for whatever does help their pocketbooks out individually. So I'm glad you brought that up because every time that I see it, I'm like, oh, this is cool because I like this certain player, or I've never really heard this player speak or anything like that before. You run. I think it's cool every single time, but they've also had some guests on Sunday Night Baseball that I've been like, maybe I should have screen that before doing that.
Maybe just limit it to like the first 3 innings.
That's what they do. That's normally when they do it, is the third inning.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to have it late in the game, you know what I'm still saying? Yeah, so.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a cop-out too, because then you're saying that that some outs count more than others. And what we say in baseball, it kind of goes to the fielder's choice rule, or like as far
about
right, but it just every out matters. Every single pitch matters.
For what it's worth, I was looking it up while we were talking, and according to Andrew Marchand with the New York Post, players like Aaron Judge and Martin Maldonado that have done this have gotten paid $10,000 for doing it once.
That's just for 3 outs.
Just for 3 outs. And then you think about the contract they're on, and that's, $10,000. But at the same time, when you're making Aaron Judge money, I mean, that's not even like me getting a bagel on the way to the Yankee game. That's, I don't know, but
I see where you're coming from, but I mean, his agent's eating up every little dollar that he could bring in for Aaron Judge.
I wonder if they have like the ability to decline. I'm curious.
I want
to know more about this.
Yeah, I would imagine that they would have that they would have that option to be able to not do it if they
and they're not going to want to talk to everybody too. It's the stars, handful of people, whoever's the big name players that are like, for whatever reason they're being talked about right now. So unless then they don't want to, then they might have to go to like a lesser type player. But
yeah, I mean, like I say, in my opinion, you can hear from these guys while they're sitting in the dugout, like waiting to, like when they're not batting, and they're just mic them up then, like they do with the manager. I mean, you get the same interview, and if anything, they can focus on you a little bit more and maybe give you better answers. But I guess I love that in the moment soundbite enough. So I don't know.
How about John Boy Media? Really got famous for doing his breakdowns, but now MLB is buying stake in John Boy Media. What do you think that means for John Boy Media and for the game in general, kind of reaching demographics that Major League Baseball doesn't reach on their own?
I mean, I love this for both sides. John Boy Media is what's hot right now in MLB media. They reportedly made $10 million as a company in 2024. They have 54 employees. They're really, really successful. And like you said, this all stemmed from YouTube videos. And one thing that I was initially worried about, because if you listen to these guys' podcasts, it's Jimmy O'Brien and Jake Storiale that run John Boy Media. If you listen to their podcasts and their shows, they're not afraid to get critical of the league and of the personnel, of the managers. They voice their opinions. And my first thought was, I hope with the ownership stake from the MLB, they're not going to get muzzled.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I would want them to lose that. But there was a report that it's in the contract that the MLB has no editorial control over John Boy Media content. If that report is true, that's a big relief, because the authenticity of those guys, I think, is what made them such a big player in sports media from the most grassroots of origins. And if you lose that, I think you lose what makes them special. So I think it's going to work out great for both sides. They're like baseball's own personal barstool, minus the perception cues. And it's exciting. I'm excited to see what they do with that for the rest of the season going forward.
Yeah, I am as well. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We got Chris Gollin on the line with us. Chris, Roman Anthony, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, top prospect in the Red Sox organization, has been called up. What do you think what do you think of Roman Anthony? Tell us a little bit about him and your studies from your perspective.
Well, first of all, you got to shout out a Florida boy, born in West Palm Beach, and went to school in Parkland. So he is he's from our neck of the woods. The guy put up really, really good numbers in the minor leagues. He started this year in AAA at 21 years old, and playing in Worcester. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's batted .288 in 58 games with 10 home runs. Really good power pace there. I think he's ready. There's going to be growing pains, but the fact of the matter is Boston as a team is slipping. They were not supposed to be in fourth place this late in the season. They were not supposed to be behind the Blue Jays and the Rays. They need to throw what tools they have at the problem to stop the bleeding and stay in wild card contention as we get toward the All-Star break. And Roman Anthony has the tools clearly to help them do that. And so, you know, if you're a Red Sox, I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm not going to say fingers crossed. But if you're a Red Sox fan, you're definitely crossing your fingers that this guy has a smooth transition to the big leagues and is going to be a game-changing player who's helping them right from the start.
Which player do you have more excitement for that's been called up this year, Jack Caglione or Roman Anthony?
You know, that's a good question. I've gotten a little more acquainted with Roman Anthony in recent, just in recently with that like 500-some foot home run that he hit. He kind of popped on my radar a little bit more. But, you know, Caglione is another really exciting prospect. I'm curious to see how he is going to pan out for them as potentially like a two-way player. So, you know, I just pulled up his stats right now in front of me. You know, I just don't have enough knowledge on Jack to really go as in-depth as I do on Roman. But this could be depending on how many games they play this year, that might be a really good Rookie of the Year battle next year.
All right, Chris, who's your pick this year to win the College World Series?
So this is another one. I gotta just full disclosure. I know like next to nothing about the College World Series. So don't hedge your bets on my pick, but I'm going Coastal Carolina University. I saw they have the best record and they played really well both in and out of the Sun Belt Conference. So I just got a good feeling about them.
All right, and Chris, we're up against a break here, so one more for you. Give me some players and some series to watch, or the series that you're looking for this weekend.
Absolutely. So two series I really have my eyes on. One of them is Toronto versus Philly. These are two second-place teams. They're both they're looking to make progress against the New York juggernaut that's in first place in their division. I really like the Baltimore versus LA Angels series. They both had kind of crappy starts, and they're heating up now. The Angels are now tied for second in the AL West. So they both of them want to keep that momentum going. And then some players. We already touched on Paul Skeens a bit, so I'll say Jonathan Aranda is on my radar on the Tampa Bay Rays. He went 2 for 10 in the Red Sox series, so I'm curious to see if he can get a tear going against the Mets. And then one guy who I know is not getting his proper recognition is Jake Bird, a relief pitcher for the Colorado Rockies, quietly one of the best relievers in baseball. He's got a 1.41 ERA this year, including 0.41 at Coors Field.
How does that happen?
A launch pad. The guy has, but you know what? The reason why he's succeeding in Colorado is he has 50 strikeouts and 38.1 innings pitched. He's keeping hitters from putting the ball in play. And so this is a guy who's really, really upped his game from the first few years of his career. So he's someone that he's on my radar now. He's probably going to be the Rockies' designated all-star, if I had to guess. And I'm curious to see what he can do rolling forward.
Ooh, what about Hunter Goodman for the all-star part?
Ooh, let me see. I'm going to quickly view my little search here. What are his stats on the year? Hunter Goodman. I don't know if I fully see it because
he got Jake Bird of him.
He got Jake Bird. Bird actually has about one more B-WAR than Hunter this year, despite being a reliever. So I think but I don't know if fans are voting on WAR, but then again, they don't vote for pitchers anyway.
Yeah.
So I like Hunter. He's got a solid shot at it. But personally, my bets are on Jake Bird as the favorite. Hunter's probably good second most likely.
Hey, there you go. Well, hey, Chris, we are out of time. Thanks so much for your time, and enjoy your weekend, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you as always for having me.
There you go. That's Chris Gollin, ladies and gentlemen, our Major League Baseball writer. Chris will join us next Friday as well. Coming up next, we're going to play a little trivia, dive into some other headlines that we missed, and then the former Eagles offensive coordinator Shane Steichen had something to say about Daniel Jones. Find out what that was when we get back.
Text in now on the Red 7T's studio line. 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Hi, this is Ryan Mulvey, and thank you for nominating the Inside Drive on the 2025 Best of Bay. To vote for the Inside Drive as the best radio show in Bay County, go to espnpc.com and click Best of Bay. And remember, for a brighter future, vote the Inside Drive in 2025. This message funded by ESPN Northwest Florida and the committee to elect the Inside Drive.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Friday's weather forecast. A variety of some sun and likely thunderstorms the rest of the day with temps near 86 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A likelihood of thunderstorms and some clouds tonight and a temperature of 80. About the same tomorrow, around 85 with possible thunderstorms. Partly sunny in the early morning followed by very light rain Sunday and very warm around 85. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Your spot for exciting college baseball and the best boiled seafood around is Lone Star Boil House. Watch the College Baseball National Championship Tournament and the College World Series on their huge Jumbotron. Plus, Lone Star Boil House is where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Shrimp, red royals, and everything crab. Follow Lone Star Boil House on Facebook for amazing food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
It's dangerous.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back in the doghouse built up by CBC Construction. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You can call us on the Red 7T's phone lines at 850-215-6290. And over there at Hiller Plumbing, give them a call because our confident service technicians will provide you with the solution for any home plumbing, heating, or cooling problem. Let us show you how we can make you a happy Hiller customer. Contact your trusted licensed technician in Panama City today at 850-290-4341. Call the Happy Face Truck today or visit their website, happyhiller.com. They bring you the trivia question today. In baseball history, there are 2 families that have seen the father and the son each hit at least 300 home runs. The one is Bobby Bonds with 332 home runs and his son Barry Bonds, who had 762 home runs. The other father-son combo saw each finish with the same number of home runs. 319. What is the name of this father and son duo? 850-215-6290. Not only are we going to be giving you a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, not just $25 to the But That Boot Store, but also 2 passes to the Kingdom Splash Fest. 2 passes to the Kingdom Splash Fest. 850-215-6290. Looking for the other father-son combo who had 319 home runs. The other father-son combo to hit at least 300 home runs. Both of them finished with 319. What is the name of this father and son? Caitlin Clark is set to return in the WNBA. They have surely been missing her. Aja Wilson will also be missing tonight's game as she enters concussion protocol. But Caitlin Clark back, and they're going to be taking on the Liberty tomorrow at 2 p.m.
I thought I heard that she was supposed to possibly be available to be at the Pacer games. So I thought,
she'll be at the game. Well, the Fever game is tomorrow at 2 p.m.
So she's still going to, they're not going to be on the road if she's going to be with the team.
I believe they're at the house, actually,
okay.
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I thought she was still going to be out with this injury, and that was going to lend her to being available to go to the
I don't think she has any more games that are on the same day as the Pacers game.
So here in this, I just thought it might have conflicted with what I heard previously. So,
and the Pacers are 8-0 playing when Caitlin Clark is in attendance. So it's our very own little Taylor Swift, but sports-wise, which kind of ties in perfectly.
She was in the building during the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs got their tails whooped, dude. She's not a good luck charm. And hell, she was at what was the game?
She was the year prior, though. She was the year prior. They won the Super Bowl.
And wasn't she with? She was at the hockey game yesterday too. with Kelsey.
Who were they rooting for?
And I think they were rooting for Florida, rooting for U.S.
Keep on.
They were rooting for Canada, I'm sure.
So she's the positive Taylor Swift in. But let's see. Let's go over to the phone line. We've got two contestants here. So let's start with line one. We've got Rob on the line. Rob, you're on with the Afternoon Underdogs, looking for the other father-son combo who each hit over 300 home runs. They landed at 319. Who is that?
Cecil and Prince Fielder.
That is correct. It is Cecil and Prince Fielder. So there you go. You just won $25 to Not Thee, but that boot store 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, but also 2 passes to the Kingdom Splash Fest. Hey, so Rob, who's your college baseball team to win the World Series?
I don't really follow college. I'm more of a major league player.
All right, who's your team?
Chicago Cubs.
Oh, there you go. Y'all having a great season. Hope that continues on for you, and wish y'all would have got the W today, and Pete Crow Armstrong would have hit a home run, and really even more so than that, Paul Skeens would have gotten a couple more strikeouts. But that's just for the old parlays out there. Hey, Rob, thanks so much for the call. Do me a favor, hang on the line real quick so Bone Crusher can grab your information, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right, great stuff. Thanks again for the call. 850-215-6290 is the Red 7T's phone line. Victor Perez, so yesterday you had, now I'm blanking on the dude's name. Who hit the Albatross? Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed, right? Hits the Albatross, 286 yards out. And you couldn't have hit a putt better than that.
And he was asking, they going?
Yeah. Great stuff right there. And I believe he was having not so great of a round. Well, then today, Victor Perez, who had a double bogey, I believe, before the 13th hole, and ended up just shooting even par to end up being 1 over after 2 rounds. Victor Perez, the second hole in 1 in U.S. Open history when they're playing at Oakmont. That was the first source that I read. It was just second hole in U.S. Open history.
Which I would have found that hard to believe.
Yeah, right, exactly. But they've played 10 times at Oakmont, so Victor Perez there with the second hole-in-one in Oakmont U.S. Open history. We've got our first
final.
That's
40 rounds, so they did 10 tournaments there? You're saying it was 10th time?
Yeah, so 40. Yeah,
40 rounds. Okay,
yeah.
So then, so it's 2 of them in 40 rounds.
And then you'd have to multiply that by all the golfers. Yeah, wild stuff there. I believe it was on the 13th hole that he got that. Also, Denver Nuggets. So I had heard earlier, and I've been repeating it on the air, but I'd seen this as well. So I wasn't, taken off guard by it. But Russell Westbrook was reported that he had signed, but he was just offered a deal by Heppo Tel Aviv, a team in Israel, for 3 years, $150 million. But then today, what maybe dig a little deeper into that is the Denver Nuggets guard Russell Westbrook is actually declining his $3.4 million player option for the 2025-6 season. He's going to be a free agent coming up here on June 30th. So I think that we'll still see him in the NBA. I don't think he's going to be taking that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you follow other current events or whatever's going on over there, he might say, I think I'm going to stay over here in the States and not go over there and get blown up.
Yeah, I believe we just saw on Twitter, Iran has launched several missiles towards Israel.
Yeah. And so $150 million. I think I'd still rather stay here and you can get the $150 million, but are you gonna be able to spend it? Yeah, you might be dead.
I agree with that. That's insanity. And this next, it would be kind of wild to go over there and put yourself in that situation for $50 million a year. I guess it depends on how much you love money. I would also say the insanity would be what I heard about Daniel Jones today, coming from the former Eagles offensive coordinator, now head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Shane Steichen. Now, this could be coach speak, but let's hear about his latest thoughts after seeing Daniel Jones being an Indianapolis Colts.
Very pleased with what we got right now. He's been doing a hell of a job. Really smart football player. Learned the offense very quickly. Making really good decisions out there through OTAs. Obviously, want to carry that over to training camp. But he's done a really good job. Great command in the huddle. Ultimate pro.
Is this coach speak, Caveman Rick, or is this does he really believe that, or is this another way, who's injured right now, Anthony Richardson, but is this another way to kind of put the spurs into Anthony Richardson?
This is, I think, just coach speak. I mean, he was, with the Eagles, a few years ago. I guarantee you that wasn't the way he was looking at probably Daniel Jones back when he was an Eagle and we were playing the Giants twice a year. Talking about, he's a smart guy. He picked up the offense pretty quick. He went to Duke. He
went to
like, come on, man. Like, okay, what do you think? He better be pretty smart, I mean, like, what was he doing at Duke then? How did he get in if he's not like a pretty bright guy to begin with? So, I mean, saying that, I mean, it's kind of like it should already be kind of implied, if you will, So you don't need to be, you're not telling us nothing. And he's the option that you have right now at the moment, So, of course, you got to prop him up. And you don't have any other options. So, it's just you got to make your guy feel good so he goes in there and hopefully performs for you. I mean, literally, you don't got much there at quarterback. He's going to be and Steichen now, going to be his third year?
Yeah, this will be his third year.
Yeah.
Third year.
So, I mean, like, coaches aren't getting a lot of time these days. Mm-hmm. So he's probably thinking, too, like, something doesn't happen this year. He might be getting a foot in his rear and getting kicked out the door,
But the quarterbacks who've got to save you as it stands right now are Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones.
And you just had a regime change with Irsay dying and a new, probably, like, fresh maybe outlook on maybe how the team might want to, like, look at doing things or what have you.
Right.
So with all these things being said, like, unless you go out and you guys really, like, maybe win the division or have a really good showing this season, it's probably over.
Yeah, and you would have to think with Irsay's 3 daughters kind of taking over that there's going to be a different...
Not yet.
Oh, is it not yet?
Well, I don't know. Like, okay, because, like, the way I understood it when he died, is the 3 daughters were left the team, right? Mm-hmm. So the way, that stuff works with, like, death tax and stuff like that, they can't just inherit the team. They have to, like, pay, like, taxes on it, I guess, or whatever the team's valued at, right? Well, if they don't have that money or they don't want to come up with that money, then they're going to have to sell the team, right? So they'll get paid, and, by selling the team, obviously, pay taxes and all that kind of jazz, but they'll still end up with a nice, chunk of change. But, I don't know if that's been determined yet. So there could be, a change of, hands with the team potentially. I don't know the legalities of all that, but I didn't hear anything, like, concrete after him dying, about this. But I do remember hearing that.
Yesterday is when the news started coming out that they're going to be taking over the...
Okay, well, maybe it did. I didn't hear that yesterday. And I did hear today. They're going to put Irsay in a ring of honor. I mean, guys, okay.
All right, well, we'll see how it plays out. But you never know when adding new minds to the mix if they decide they want to go another direction. We have to go another direction. That is to the land of breaks. When we get back, we'll get some fresh takes from Andrew Weiss talking NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
Text in now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday evening. As we head into tonight, very light showers and possible thunderstorms, and a low of 80 with a gentle breeze at 8 miles per hour coming out of the south. For tomorrow morning, very light showers and definite thunderstorms, and a temp near 85. In the afternoon and evening, definite thunderstorms and some clouds, and a high around 85. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Happy Books helps small business owners save over 100 hours a year on bookkeeping and save $5,000 to $7,000 a year in expenses. Let Happy Books handle your bookkeeping so you can do what you do best. Grow your business. They are a small business specializing in serving other small businesses. Call Happy Books now for a free consultation. 850-867-6973. That's 850-867-6973. Or take the first step on their Facebook page or website, happybookstoday.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVO2 Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
This 53-man roster is stupid.
Where it's halftime all the time.
Raise the rosters, you cheapskate owners, and get that done now.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse, and this is brought to you by CBC Construction. You can visit their website, cbcconstruction.com, or call them at 850-747-3815. We are your spot for Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida. The next game coming up tonight, coverage starting after our show at 6 o'clock, first pitch at 6:15. Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida, brought to you locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and by Brock Pest Control. Let's get over to those Red 7T phone lines. We've got Andrew Weiss, our NHL ambassador, just in time for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and he's been keeping us on target with everything that he's been saying to this point in the finals, well, really throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. Andrew, thanks for coming back on with us. What are your thoughts on Game 4, another overtime thriller in these finals?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me on. Always appreciate joining you guys. Got a chance to talk about some hockey. It's been, television's greatest show right now. I mean, this is a Stanley Cup final that's been sensational to watch. I mean, outside of a Game 3 blowout, 3 of the 4 games have gone to overtime. We have now seen not just the latest, but now the second latest game-tying goal in Stanley Cup Finals history. Corey Perry tying the game for Edmonton in Game 2. Late in the third period, I can't remember the exact time, but like 12 seconds left in the third period?
Yeah, somewhere around there, 9 or 12 seconds, yeah.
And then Sam Reinhart last night with just about 20 seconds left as well. Ironically, the teams that tied it both lost the games on home ice. So it would have been incredible to see the reaction of the fan base either in Edmonton for Game 2 or Florida last night to see them tie the game that late and then win in overtime. Would have been huge for that fan base. But either way, we've got a 2-2 series. I think Florida's had its better moments more than Edmonton. They've led for more of the series, but at the end of the day, it's a tied series, and all you got to do is a best of 3 now. First team to win 2 games, they got to take home the cup.
Yeah, Corey Perry's tying goal was with 18 seconds, and Reinhardt's last night was 19 some tenth seconds remaining in the game. What did you think of, and I do want to dive into that momentum heading into OT, that topic right there, but first, you had the Panthers up last night after the first period, 3-0, and I know most people probably thought, I can only speak for myself, that this was it. The series was ending after that first period last night. It felt like there was no way after Game 3 and the performance that the Panthers put on, that there was no way the Oilers were going to come back in this game, and then they'd have a 3-1 stronghold on the series, which we saw last year. The Panthers go up 3-0, and then the Oilers force a Game 7. But did you think, what did you think of the Oilers erasing that 3-goal deficit in the second period last night?
I mean, it's huge for them in multiple ways. I mean, the first one, to your point, honestly, I thought the same thing. The way that Florida played Game 3 and the way that, Game 4 had started, I was like, all right, well, Florida's just too good. Edmonton can't stay with them, and Skinner's not able to hold on and, make one big save here or there that could change the game. But, it really shows, again, a few things. One, the resiliency of this Edmonton team. I think last year it might have caved in a game like this. This year they're showing, that they can come back and win these games and make big plays no matter what the score is. But also, to your point about momentum, Calvin Pickard coming in, is he, prime Andre Vasilevsky or, Jonathan Quick or, Dominic Hasek? No. But the team responded to that. And, it's obvious who's going to start Game 5 for them now in Calvin Pickard, just because of the fact that they've won basically every game that he's been a part of. It's not because he's putting up crazy numbers. He has a save percentage under 900. It's below average, but he's making enough and giving this team enough confidence that they're going out and they're skating a little more differently. They're skating with a little more confidence, and that's a bigger deal than people realize. These are human beings. As much as robots as we try to play them to be, they still do have some feeling in them, and right now the confidence when Pickard is in net is clearly more evident.
Yeah, and one of those emotions that you can't quantify is momentum, and that's something that I don't think computers are capable of possessing, right? Momentum forwards, momentum backwards, whichever way it may be. And going into the second game when the Oilers tied it up late, it felt like they had the momentum going into the overtime period. You've already referenced this. Then the Panthers come out on top, and then same way in the last game, in last night's game rather, Game 4, where it felt like, man, the Panthers shots weren't really getting to the net, and then they get that final push and they get one behind the net. It felt like all signs were pointing towards the Florida Panthers there. So who do you feel like going into, but you could talk about both the games, but did you feel both times that the team who scored late had that momentum?
I think that it goes a little both ways, right? I think the more important thing to me is the fact that the team that ties it, there's so much, I don't want to say enjoyment, that's the wrong word, like endorphins really going off. Like when you tie it that late in a game where you're not sure that that's going to even happen, and you end up getting the tie and you send it to overtime, like your rush from getting that tie is so big, but you've kind of put all your eggs into that basket of we got to tie this game up. It sometimes can be hard to maintain that energy and edge, because before you're playing like, all right, well, it's not nothing to lose, but you have everything to lose. But it's almost like nothing to lose. Your net's empty. It's like we have to get a goal. We're not worried about defense. We're not worried about back checking. We got to get shots on net and get something in the net. And when it happens, like, all right, great. Well, you still need to do those things, but now with these other things involved, it's hard to readjust right after. And that's why you kind of have the intermission to do it. And I think both teams that ended up losing still played well in overtime. They had chances. But I don't necessarily think it's, you've taken the momentum and now it's all on your side. I think it's more so, honestly, even harder, and you have to battle against that natural instinct of relief that you tied the game, because you're not trying to tie, you're trying to win.
Right.
You have to tie first, but it's that feeling of relief, like, okay, we did it. We got we tied the game up. Oh, thank God, we were worried we were going to lose there. All right, well, you tied it, but now you're in overtime where one shot you can lose. So, keeping up that level of, urgency is not easy to do, and that's something that I think both teams still manage good chances. I don't think they lost urgency, but I don't think they take the momentum, if that makes any sense.
Right on. Yeah, I think what Dave was saying about the momentum and stuff, I can see that, but in this series, I think with these two teams, though, I think it's like, I guess for lack of a better term, like an ultimate matchup. Florida is a really good front-running team. They get a goal on you, then it's easy for them to get a second, a third, and get a lead, right? But I think Edmonton, on the contrary, they're that team, they don't step it up, and they don't get really going, I think, until their back's against the wall, until they're down a little bit, until they almost have a reason to step up. I think when the game's even and it's scoreless or it's tied, I don't want to see Edmonton takes their foot off the gas, but it seems like they're just not pushing as hard, I guess, if you will. They're just playing maybe just their game, waiting for their chances. But as soon as you get them against the wall and they're down, especially severely down, 3 goals in a game, I mean, that's when you start seeing the best out of some of the best players in the world. like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. But moving on again to like the goaltenders, you talking about Picard and Skinner, and what I was talking about, like the matchup here between these two teams. I don't think for Edmonton it really matters which goaltender's in the game. I don't think it matters if it's Picard or Skinner. I think they got the same confidence level in both goaltenders for the most part. I really do. I think it's just a matter of, like, Edmonton almost needs, like, that extra motivation, I hate to say. But once they got it and they're playing with, like, their hairs on fire, like you were saying, when a team's, like, looking for that tying goal, they're playing with their hair on fire. They're not worried about back checking. They're just worried about getting shots and trying to score a goal. Edmonton plays better, I think, just that way. And, like, the talent just seems to come out. I mean, we see how clutch Draisaitl is. So, for me, I don't think it really matters. But who do you think is the right call for Knobloch to put in for Game 5?
I mean, I think it's Picard just for that mental factor. Like, again, I think to your point, I don't think it's necessarily a massive difference in how they play in front of either goalie. I think you could, in theory, on paper, you could play either goalie and they're going to give you a very similar performance. I think it's just in front of them, not necessarily defensively, but just for whatever reason, I don't even want to say confidence, but like, I guess their mental concern feels like less just because it's almost like what do we have to lose? He's the backup goalie, if that makes sense. Like, it's almost like that empty net, we have to tie the game kind of mindset where it's like, all right, like, we know we have to score some goals. I feel like it's more freeing for them versus like with Skinner, it's like, all right, what's our systems? Like, they feel like a little more structured and sometimes a little too tight.
Yeah.
And that could be wrong too. It's just, I think you got to go Picard here just because, Skinner is so hot and cold, and so far he's been cold. And you put him back in for Game 4 hoping that he would revert back to the hot. He didn't. I'm not going to blame him for all the goals this series. I don't think it's necessarily his fault. But my biggest motto when it comes to goaltending come playoff time, when you have two goalies, you have zero goalies. You don't have a guy. You don't have this guy's going to play. Every team that's won the Cup except for Vegas in the last 6-7 years has had a goalie that they ride all year. He's their guy. He's in the net. He's going to win it. Go. And Vegas, the only difference was all of them got hurt to where Aiden Hill had to be the guy. And he ended up being like, all right, I'm the guy now. And he just took it and ran with it. And now he's become their guy that plays in the regular season. So, I don't think that you have a guy that's like, oh, we have to play Stuart Skinner. We have to play Connor Picard. But based off momentum right now, it's like, all right, well, current momentum says we got to throw in Picard. Let's try to keep everyone's head on a swivel here.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Keep your ears on a swivel here with Andrew Weiss joining us to talk the Stanley Cup Finals. Andrew, is it worrisome at all that Connor McDavid isn't scoring goals? Now, he's scoring. He's getting his assists. He's getting the team involved. But is it worrisome at all to you in this? Or is it maybe is it a positive that he hasn't, meaning that he's still got some left in the proverbial tank?
I mean, I think it's a positive, the fact that they've come so far, and he's still he's still such a massive factor in every game, even when he's not shooting the puck. And it's almost like the Nikita Kucherov effect, where you're creating so many plays that teams are keying in on you, which allows you to feed your teammates for better looks and better opportunities. And he's still getting his shots, just like Kucherov, still getting his shots. It's guys that create chances for themselves, but they're even better at creating it for others because they draw the eyes and the attention of a defense and a goalie. And so the fact that McDavid is still generating these opportunities against a very good defensively sound Panthers team without scoring goals, I mean, maybe it's Game 5, maybe it's Game 6, whatever. He's gonna get one, and it could be a huge difference maker that could win the series. But he's gonna get play. He's making plays, and they haven't been all there for him so far this series. And they're tied 2-2. That's a good thing. He can he can create something out of nothing, as we saw in Game 3 when he set up that crazy goal, weaving his way through Barkov and Ekblad.
Yeah,
right. Like he's capable of some astounding plays out of nothing. So if anyone can put a goal on the board pretty quickly just based on skill, it's him. So I think it's a good thing for Edmonton because he's still creating plays quite vividly and quite. I don't want to say easily because it's not easy, but with the ability to do so against a very good Panthers team, it's not easy to do, and he's doing it.
Yeah, I would agree. He doesn't need to score to affect the game positively, so he's doing his thing. With all that being said, Andrew, Which of the two teams do you think needs Game 5 the most?
I think it's Edmonton. I don't think that the Oilers going down 3-2 and then returning to Florida is a recipe for success. Even after last year, I know they're down 3-0. They showed some great resolve last year coming back, but going down 3-2 and then going back to Florida and the Panthers have a chance to host the Cup in the building, that's going to be very hard to do. But even more than that, the Panthers have been one of the best road teams in recent memory on the playoffs. And if Edmonton can take one here in Game 5 and give themselves a chance to win on the road or win at home, I like their odds a lot better. And I think for Florida, if they do fall here in Game 5, that's a team that can defend home ice with the best of them. But then also, if they had to go on the road and win a Game 7, I'd feel more confident as a Panthers fan than as an Edmonton fan going into Game 6 and trying to win that one and Game 7.
And saying that, which is the biggest key for each team that you would think needs to happen for them to win those games or win this next game?
Edmonton to continue being the random team of destiny with the puck luck and the bounces going their way. This Panthers team is so good. Look at the overtime winner last night. That's some puck luck, right? That's some good bounces that go your way. Sometimes that's all you need. And Edmonton's had that this whole playoff run. Florida's had that for a lot of this playoff run, but they've also been very, very good. Edmonton just needs to create those chances and allow that puck luck to kind of go to work, right? Allow that opportunity to where maybe it does bounce in. Like Draisaitl, he's just trying to shovel a pass across, holding off a guy with one hand. It happened to go in the net. But he's creating an opportunity. So sometimes you just have to create those opportunities and make your own luck, right? The other side of it for Edmonton, just to stay on the Oilers real quick, if Calvin Pickard does play, I don't expect him to throw a shutout. But one or two timely saves can be a big difference. Look at the save Pickard made in overtime on Bennett last night. I thought it hit the post, watched the replay, went off Pickard, and then the iron.
Yeah, it hit the glove, didn't it? And then hit the crossbar.
Yep, and then that allows the Oilers to go on and win later. Is it the prettiest save? No. Is it going to end up on highlight reels? Probably not. Maybe, if they zoom in and do the slow-mo replay. But the big thing is, it doesn't have to be a pretty save as long as it stays out of the net. And that's one big save that, so far this series, Skinner has not been able to do, is make that one big save to keep them, to give them their chance to win it. And that's all that this Edmonton team needs. We talked about before the series, I said every game's probably going to be a high-scoring game. I think we talked about that before the series. I said take the 5.5 or 6.5 over. And we've had 7, 9, 7, and 9.
Yeah. In Vegas has not really been adjusting those totals very much either.
That's where my next question is, Andrew. So
to finish at that point for Edmonton, it's like, look, I don't need Pickard to make every save. I need him to make the saves at the right time, the right moment. That gives you a chance to win the game. And then for Florida, honestly, you are up 3-0 in your last game for a reason. Like, they're a deep team that creates great chances. They just need to keep playing Florida Panthers hockey. It's towing the line, be gritty, be dirty to an extent, and get Edmonton off their game. Their one blowout game this series was a Florida win because Edmonton was frazzled. You got to get to their heads if you're Florida.
Yeah, Andrew, you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Andrew Weiss on with us. He is our NHL ambassador. You brought up that bold prediction. I think it was maybe after Game 1, but either way, you had the bold prediction prior to that. The bold prediction being that every game in this series would finish with at least, you backed it down to 5, but you said 6, I believe. And the odds makers continue to lead this thing at 6. I know you're not an odds maker, but still they lead this thing at 6.5. But they're putting plus 100 on the over, and the over has hit in every single game. Do you think that this next game, Game 5, does it tone down a little bit, or do we stay at over 7 goals for just Game 5?
I got to stick with my bold prediction, right? I think the goals keep coming.
I think they're trying to push people away from it, but all it does is just suck me right into it. At plus 100, it's like, come on. This series has been electric in that sense. All right, we talked about the keys. Let's talk about, real quick, all right, let's go to a letter grade. You might not be a teacher, but, hey, you instruct the game of hockey to other people. So with that being said, give me a letter grade on both teams' performance to this point in the series.
I will give the Panthers an A-. It would have been an A even after a loss yesterday if they didn't blow a 3-0 lead. because there's honestly no reason they shouldn't be up 3-1 in this series. And I'll give Edmonton a B+. It would have been a B, but the 3-0 comeback, that shows some great resolve. I think Florida's been the better team this series. I don't think it's that far apart. I think it's a pretty close series, which is why you're getting that A- B+ kind of range. But they've both been so good, creating so many chances. They have some good defensive moments. The goaltending's been up and down, but I mean, honestly, it's just these teams are so good. Like this is what a Stanley Cup Finals should look like outside of Game 3. This is like every game has been 1-goal game except for Game 3.
Well,
that's
3 was fine. There was a lot of penalty minutes in that game, fighting. There's nothing wrong with all that in a hockey game. I mean,
the thing is, like, yeah, even without the goal, like even being close in goal totals the other 3 games, and then the one game that wasn't was still entertaining for that reason, right? Like all the penalties and the scrums and the fights and all that. Like this is what a final should look like. I hope people are tuning in because this is fun to watch.
Oh, no, just say, like, yeah, I mean, that's just a great series. No, I mean, everything Andrew was saying, I totally agree with. Can't argue.
That'll wrap it up for the Stanley Cup Finals aspect. But one more piece of news that we got to talk about real quick, Andrew. One of the slogans or statements surrounding around the NBA Finals right now, especially after Halliburton makes a big shot, is "What the Helly." I think there's a song out there like "What the Helly." Well, how about we bring it to the NHL with Connor Hellebuyck? What the Helly? Hellebuyck winning the Hart and the Vezina Trophy. First American netminder and just the 8th goaltender to be named the MVP. What do you think of Hellebuyck winning the Hart Trophy?
I mean, I think it's very well deserved. He's been sensational for the Jets year after year, and then this year, I mean, they have a very deep team. It's not like it was just him, but his numbers, I mean, those are. We look at the MVP award so often as, this is the forward award, because the defensemen get the Norris and the goalies get the Vezina, so we have to give to a forward. And more often than not, that's been the case, but sometimes some numbers just cannot be ignored. And Hellebuyck is out here, Andre Vasilevsky had a phenomenal year, and in any other year would have been potentially a Vezina winner. And he got 1 first-place vote in the Vezina Trophy voting. And honestly, I don't think he should have gotten any, because that's how good Connor Hellebuyck was.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers he put up were sensational. They won a President's Trophy because of his play. I know the playoffs did not go the way he wanted or the Jets wanted. I get that. But this is talking about the regular season. He's very well deserving. I think there are some 3 great candidates in Hellebuyck, Draisaitl, and Kucherov. I could see arguments for all 3 very easily. But they all played phenomenally all year, and that's a guy who has some goaltending numbers that are going to lead him to the Hall of Fame one day.
Series ended today. Who wins the MVP?
Conn Smythe.
Yeah, Conn Smythe. Who wins that for each team?
For the Oilers, it's got to be Leon Draisaitl. He set the record for most overtime goals in one postseason. He's been their point producer, their goal scorer.
Clutch.
Not just in terms of overall points, but exactly. He's been so clutch. It's when he does it just as much as how he does it. So that's easily for me for Edmonton. Florida's a little harder just because they have such a deep team. You can make arguments for a few guys. I could see an argument for Brad Marchand. I could see an argument for Sergei Bobrovsky. For me, it's got to be Sam Bennett. Just across the board, the way he's played, he leads them in goals. He does so much more than that. I know his career high is only 50-something points in the regular season, but that's a guy that, if he hits the market, I think people will be surprised how much money he's going to take in per year.
Yeah, that's fair. I would go probably Bobrovsky myself, because it's the whole, it's not just Stanley Cup Finals, the whole playoffs, so that's why I would take Bobrovsky.
I mouthed Sam Bennett right before you said that, Andrew, but we've got some great candidates up there, and we still got some more games to go. Andrew, thanks so much for your time, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me as always. Always a pleasure.
No doubt.
Enjoy the weekend.
Hey, you enjoy the weekend as well, and that Game 5 tomorrow evening. That's Andrew Weiss. He is our NHL ambassador. Has done a great job, as always, keeping us up to date on what's going on in the world of the NHL. And right now, we're in the most important time of the year. Home teams, it was
158-1. So that win last night by Edmonton was the first time in 159 tries where their team was up 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and they won every one except for last night.
Great stuff there, and great stuff coming up next is we're going to have Wright State Chris joining us. We've already had one game of the College World Series, but we've got more to talk about. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida.
Come on vacation.
Panama summer vacation.
Hey, how's your vacation going?
Leave on probation.
Sheriff's deputies in Panama City Beach arresting 161 people during an out-of-control spring break weekend.
Welcome to the Emerald Coast. Have a great time at the beautiful beaches, but not like end up in the back of a police cruiser great. A friendly reminder from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday evening. As we head into tonight, very light showers and possible thunderstorms, and a low of 80 with a gentle breeze at 8 miles per hour coming out of the south. For tomorrow morning, very light showers and definite thunderstorms, and a temp near 85. In the afternoon and evening, definite thunderstorms and some clouds, and a high around 85. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials, Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus, live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive, across from the Navy base. And 10908 Front Beach Road.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
I love this song. I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzz warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
For the 2025 Atlanta Braves, it's time to dial in and start the battle back, which means every game means a little more.
Swung on, lifted towards center field. That might get down. Diving catch and caught by Michael Harris.
Tonight, Truist Park comes alive as the Braves roll back into town to take on the Colorado Rockies live from Atlanta.
Braves pregame coverage begins at 6 o'clock. First pitch, 6:15. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. For the A.
Deep right center field, and is gone!
Your spot for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. Listen live nights and weekends. This is Braves Country. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse, brought to you by CBC Construction. You can head to cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. And over there at Hiller Plumbing, that's where our confident service technicians can provide you with a solution for any home plumbing, heating, or cooling problem. Let us show you how we can make you a happy Hiller customer. Contact your trusted licensed technician in Panama City today. You can visit the website at happyhiller.com or call them at 850-290-4341.
Those guys, sorry to interrupt, those guys were at my place last week. My landlord went through so many plumbers before he finally got those guys over, and they took care of it. I had a pump go out on the sewer pump that runs the waste into the sewer.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys, for coming out there. Saved the day.
Hey, there you go. And made you have the same face that's on the side of their trucks there with the happy face logo. Hey, thanks for that for that endorsement there for Hiller Plumbing. We love when our advertisers can help our listeners, or in this case, our employees. And Bone Crusher, everything that you guys hear coming out of your speakers, Bone Crusher has his hands on that, does a great job for us here. So a resounding endorsement for Bone Crusher as well. On the Red 17's phone line with us, we got a friend of the show's in Wright State, Chris. Chris, your last name, is that legit on Facebook? We'll introduce you as like a real person in Wright State, Chris.
Yes.
Chris Steffen, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Steffen on the line with us, former baseball player for Wright State and the Raiders, and he loves college baseball as much as he loves other sports as well, but college baseball is near and dear to his heart, and we love to have him on, giving us some of his time talking about this sport he loves. So College World Series, we already had our first game. What was your takeaway? What was your thoughts seeing Coastal Carolina continue their run, 24 straight wins now for that program, and they beat Arizona handedly, 7-4.
It just goes what they've been saying about going into Coastal, and what really their strong point is they got great pitching, they got great defense, they got three really good pitchers on their team. Not sure who took I don't know if it was Cam Folke who took it first, but they got a really good bullpen guy in Hayden Johnson, and didn't do just limited Arizona to what they could do, and then put up enough runs, and just one of those games where Coastal's riding the wave, and it's good to get that first win in Omaha.
Yeah, so Arizona will go to the losers bracket, and they will wait tonight's game, Louisville, Oregon State, to take on the loser from that. Coastal Carolina will take on the winner of that game. Louisville tonight is a plus 145 underdog. Oregon State, number 8 in the land. They are minus 190 favorite. The over-under sitting at 9.5. Give me thoughts about both of these teams, and then we'll work into the players, a player to watch from each team.
Gotcha. Oregon State's just really solid. I don't know how many people watch the Florida State series, but just watching some of those highlights, man, Oregon State, they gunned down Florida State a bunch of times on the bases, and that's really hard to do because everyone on the team has to be in sync with each other. Like the cutoffs, you take them for granted, but making all of the precise throws correctly, there needs to be like 2 or 3 throws in a row, and being able to get someone. So all of them play well. I mentioned, asked Morgan last week, but in my head, Oregon State's farmed the most aura out of any of these teams. In the last 20 years, they've won 3 national championships, and that's more than any other team. So Oregon State, in my heart, will always have like a little bit of, like I said, of the aura. Michael Jordan walks into a room, LeBron walks into a room, Oregon State baseball walks into a room, everyone kind of just looks over there and is like, whoa, who's that? So Oregon State, they always they never out. They're never out in the game, and it's got to be in the back of everyone's head. But Louisville, they've got a good team. They play to their strengths. They play a lot of small ball. They got a top 40 pitcher on their team, and I think it's just going to be a really good game. Obviously, whoever wins this is in the driver's seat, and that's going to be a really good game with Coastal. But I think Oregon State's going to win this. I think it's going to be close, but that's the games that Oregon State loves to win.
There you go. Moving on to or do you think they go over or under 9.5 games? 9.5 runs.
9.5 runs. I'm going to go with under on that. Both teams have good hitters, but there's not a lot of home run hitters on the team. There's a couple, but not. I'm saying under 9.5. I'm saying it's a closer game than the one before it.
All right. Give me a player to watch from each team.
All right. So on Louisville, they got 2 I want to bring up. First, I want to bring up their leadoff hitter, Lucas Moore. Lucas Moore has 51 steals on the year. You know how many times he's actually attempted stealing? 52.
Wow.
51 of 52.
I was going to say like 58, which 51 of 58 is like amazing right there. But to only get caught one time is insane. Heck of a thief there. No misdemeanors on his record.
And Louisville has 155 steals on the entire year.
Wow.
So if they get on base, they're tearing up the base paths. But I think that actually doesn't mentally screw up Oregon State, because I feel like they can handle stuff like that. Like that's not going to really like get them out of their game plan. Yeah. But the guy who's throwing for Louisville tonight, his name is Patrick Forbes. He's a top 40 pitcher as a prospect this year. So he's a stud. So that's why I think both. And then Oregon State, they're going with their freshman All-American. His name's Dax Whitney, and he's like I said, he's a freshman All-American. He's a high draft pick, but he's only a freshman. Oregon State has a shortstop named Ava Arquette, and he's a top 10 draft pick. People have been talking about him. He's Hawaiian. I'm bringing that up because there's going to be another couple of Hawaiians on this list later on. But and they also have a great freshman catcher that's going to be a high draft pick as well. So it's going to be small ball for Louisville versus just the overall solidness of Oregon State. And I think Oregon State's got a little more pop in their bats, just out of the park, not necessarily like, everywhere else. But I think that's going to be the X factor through this whole term, this home runs.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Chris Steffen on the line with us. He goes by Wright State Chris here. We've got 2 more games to dive into and then some other questions. But first, an update that we all look forward to. The next update won't be until 10 p.m., but the College World Series Jell-O Shot Challenge right now in the lead is none other than LSU at 1,993 shots. In second place is Murray State. They've got 1,274. In third place, Coastal Carolina at 1137. In fourth place, looks like we've got Arkansas. Fifth place, Louisville. Arkansas is at 791, below 1,000. Louisville below 1,000 at 646. Then it looks like we've got Arizona at 477, Oregon State at 328, and UCLA at 174. So get to drinking out there, fellas. Get to drinking some of them Jell-O shots from Rocco's. All right, to Murray State. We're going into tomorrow's games now.
Plus,
Murray,
you know what I heard too about all those Jell-O shots? I think it's like $3.50 of every one of those gets donated.
Yeah,
like money gets donated to different causes and stuff. So it's not just a bunch of people out there just getting liquored up in the stands. It's actually going to a good cause.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I would say a lot of those Jell-O shots probably don't even get drank.
No. Don't even get made, probably.
If I was back there right now, I'd be hitting F8 on that one because that is decent. All right, Murray State, UCLA. They're playing at first pitch tomorrow at 1 p.m. Murray State and the Racers plus 190 underdog. UCLA, number 15 in the land, minus 300 favorite. Thoughts about both of these teams here, Wright State, Chris?
Everyone, that's doesn't have a team in it's probably rooting for Murray State. And, they got everyone's heart. You've seen the facilities, the coach cuts the grass, all that good stuff. And, they got you can't take anything away from the ball club.
So who's cutting the grass right now?
While
they're here.
Hopefully it's the athletic director. They got a great solid team, obviously, to go through the regional, beating Ole Miss and a couple of the other teams in there, and then, obviously beating Duke and everything. But I'm not one of those people because I don't look at, like, UCLA and Arkansas as being my rival. I'm Wright State. I want them to make the College World Series. I don't want people to remember Murray State. I don't want them to remember Kent State, who made it in 2012. I want them to remember Wright State. So that's my little spiel right there. Anyways, UCLA, they got a great squad. I think UCLA takes it. The other thing about UCLA is obviously there's a lot of unrest in LA, so you wonder if that's with them at all. Because I know that it's secluded. That part of LA is different than the other part of LA. But, it's just one of those things where you got to wonder if any of that's playing on their mind. You don't need any type of distractions while you're out there,
We're going to be seeing you on the bridge tomorrow.
No. You'll be seeing. If you drive by my house, you'll be seeing me do yard work tomorrow.
Oh, there we go.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow, man, for part of the day. So, good luck.
Hey, that's perfect for me. I'll figure something else out.
There you go. All right. So, players to watch from each team here.
Yeah. So, Murray State's got a pitcher, Nick Shuddy. He's somehow finding a way to put up good numbers against good teams. And then they also got a guy named Graham McCallum who's got 9 saves on the year. They got a good pitcher that can lead them into a back-end dude that can definitely get some outs. It's one of those things as a head coach is like how close, if you got a great closer, is he a 6-out closer? Is he a 9-out closer? Or is he just like a 3-out closer, Can he come in with bases loaded in the 8th and get an out and then come back and throw 3 more outs in the 9th? So, you got to wonder that. We had a closer like that, and we put him in the 6th or 7th inning. He ended up pitching in the big leagues for 9 years, but our coach was always like, 5th inning, all right, get Joe ready. Get him out there on the mound. And then they also got a guy named Jonathan Hogard who has 22 jacks on the year. So, they're solid. They're a pitching defensive team, too. And what was crazy is in the Missouri Valley Conference, they were only hitting like 263 before the conference tournament started. And they've basically hit like 363 since then. So something clicked in them.
Wow.
And it's great to see at the end of the year when a team comes together like that, especially a team from the Missouri Valley Conference,
Yeah. So who do you got winning UCLA Murray State, and do they go over or under 10.5 runs?
I'm going to go over 10 runs. UCLA has a top draft pick in their shortstop named Brock Kolowski. It's spelled R-O-C-H. He's very good. He's going to be a top-end guy. I think both teams are gonna hit get some runs. They're both going to hit some long balls, and it's going to be over. But I think UCLA takes it. I think at some point in time, Murray State's going to wake up and realize where they're at, and it's just going to, it's not a bad thing. It's just like they're going to be like, man, we did the best we could, but it's just one of those things. So, but you're saving for the best for last, Dave.
There we go. Arkansas, LSU. Arkansas is a -115 favorite tonight. LSU -125. That over-under sitting at 9.5. Give us your thoughts on both of these teams, right, State Chris?
Arkansas has a national batting average of .313, and that's, they play majority of SEC tournaments. That's ranked seventh nationally, so you could probably add some points to that to make them like top 1 or 2. They also have 7 dudes that have over 14 home runs, and they've got about 2 or 3 pitchers that are all high-end guys that are going to get drafted. On the other hand, LSU's got their top 4 pitchers are the best top 4 pitchers in the entire. I'm not saying they're the best pitching staff, but they're the best top 4 pitchers in the entire tournament. Cade Anderson, he's going to be a top 5 pick. He has 4 pitches that are, if you know the 80-point scale, which scouts use, he's got 3 pitches that are 50, 55, and his fastball is a 60. Average major leaguers have a 60 to 65-point scale on their fastball, so he's already got a big league fastball. And then they got a guy named Garrett Curiel, who's going to be a high-end draft pick, and but I'm going with Arkansas. I think they've got more power. Like I said, the X factor of this tournament is going to be home runs. And Arkansas has got just a potent batting order, and their pitcher is a sinker ball pitcher, so that might play against LSU being able to get a lot more ground balls than getting it up into the air.
Now, Hard Rock doesn't have the over-under for this game, but I found it on ESPN Bet. They're sitting at 9.5. What kind of game are we expecting? High-scoring, low-scoring? Technically, I'm asking you over or under 9.5 runs. I'm
going to go over, but not too much. I say they probably score around 12. I see it like I realize, I see it's like a 7-6, 8-7 game. I know you got high-end arms on there, but you also got some really high-end bats, too. And I always pull for the bats more than I pull for the arms. So.
And there you go. Offensive explosion. All right, some rapid-fire questions for you to close this segment out. Which teams do you expect to be in the final?
Arkansas versus Oregon State or Coastal Carolina. I'm leaving the one side open.
I like that. I'm going Arkansas and Oregon State myself. What team can't afford to get into the losers bracket?
But I'm going to say, and I'm going to shock you on this one, LSU.
Ooh.
If they lose that first game, I think it's over for them.
A player from this World Series who will have the best Major League Baseball career?
I would go with a couple of the catchers, but they're pretty young. So I'm going to go with Ava Arquette, or I'm going to go with Wiwa Aloy of Arkansas, the two Hawaiian shortstops.
Dark horse to win it all?
Dark horse to Coastal.
Coastal, I love it. Best coach team?
You know what? You got to go with Oregon State or LSU on this one. Just the fact that Oregon State just continues to show up, but LSU won it a couple years ago. So, but I like the discipline I see from Oregon State, but I'm biased.
Who's got the best pitching? What team?
The best pitching overall, I'm going to go with Arkansas, but a close second is Coastal, and then a close third is LSU. Or you could put LSU ahead of Coastal.
Best overall pitcher?
Best overall pitcher is definitely Cade Anderson of the LSU.
And then which team has the best hitting?
Best hitting, definitely Arkansas.
And who is the best hitter?
Best hitter? We're going to go with Ava Arquette on this one.
Yeah. And they've got also Oregon State has the what's it, Turley, I believe, the outfielder who broke the Oregon State Beavers home run record this year.
Yeah.
So they've got they've got some bats over there at Oregon State. Hey, Wright State Chris, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for getting us caught up on what's going on in the College World Series, and have a great weekend, my friend.
Hey, y'all too. Really appreciate it, Dave, Caveman, Bone Crusher. Y'all have a great one.
Be good, dude.
There we go. Wright State Chris, or Chris Steffen, ladies and gentlemen. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next, it's our final segment of the week. Keep it locked in here to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Call or text in now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Quarterbacks can be a lot of things in the NFL, but they can't be weird. You start looking at the stories that came out. Aaron Rodgers was the Steelers' third choice. Aaron's career is ending the way a lot of careers end for relatives and musicians and actors. Aaron's aging the way weird ages.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now in stock at Tommy Otto's.
2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude. Luxury at a value price. $13,995 or a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with one owner. Sporty and affordable. $11,995 at Tommy Otto's.
Buy here, pay here. Financing options available. Everyone is approved. Tommy Otto's, 2209 West 15th Street, Panama City. 850-960-8664. For the latest deals and specials, follow Tommy Otto's on Facebook. Add tag, tax, and title.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
For the 2025 Atlanta Braves, it's time to dial in and start the battle back, which means every game means a little more.
Swung on, lifted towards center field. That might get down. Diving catch and caught by Michael Harris.
Tonight, Truist Park comes alive as the Braves roll back into town to take on the Colorado Rockies live from Atlanta.
Braves pregame coverage begins at 6 o'clock. First pitch, 6:15. Your home for the Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. You think you've been on your grind? The 11-year-old cashier at the Gin Gin puts in more hours than you.
Do any of you people do any actual work?
Just saying.
We might need to work on your sales pitch.
Less work and more play.
All right, show's over. Everybody back to work.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back in the doghouse. This doghouse was built up by CBC Construction. Visit their website at cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. Also, visit our website, espnpc.com, to keep your radio fun and positive here in Panama City, Lynn Haven, PCB 30A, and across Bay County. Vote Ryan Mulvey or Coach James Hell for Best Radio Personality in the Best of Bay. And thanks for listening to us here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Janoris Robinson, Win Within Football and Cheer Camp. That's going to be June 28th. I believe this is your final day to sign up for it. So y'all get over to Facebook, type in Win Within Camp, and sign up there. Janoris Robinson going to be playing with the Kansas City Chiefs. He played football locally here at Bay High, got drafted by the Vikings, played with the Eagles, the Raiders, now on the Chiefs. So good luck to him on the new season, but even more so, thank you to him for coming back to Panama City and holding this camp year in and year out, doing a great job there. The Red 7T phone line, your last opportunity to call that until Monday comes around. 850-215-6290. Red 7T is the brand that brands you. Big weekend coming up. Happy Father's Day again to all the fathers out there. We appreciate you. We wouldn't be here without fathers or mothers. So thank you, guys. And spend some time with your pops. I'm excited to see my brother on his first Father's Day this year. But tonight we've got some big games. So let's get a couple of picks in. Then we'll do some player props for the NBA Finals game. Let's start it off with Game 5 Saturday. Panthers, Oilers. Who do you like in that one, Caveman Rick?
I want to see the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, right? So, kind of like Andrew was saying, it'd probably be, advantageous for the Oilers to win this game because going down to Sunrise, if the Panthers are already up, it's going to be tough to close them out at home when they got the Stanley Cup in the building. So, I'm going to go Oilers.
I'm right there with you. I think they trade the next two. I think Oilers win the next one, so they'd win back-to-back games right there. Then the Panthers win back in Sunrise, and then Game 7,
Edmonton wins at home.
I'm going to stay. I do have the Oilers picked to win the series, but I'm going to stay away from picking that right yet.
I hear you.
I do think that they trade these next two, and I think we get my bold prediction is we get, and I don't even know how bold this is, we get one more overtime out of the next two games.
I'm just thinking last year the home team won. Home team's going to matter this year, so that's what I'm giving it to Edmonton.
James Fife chiming in with Fife Sports Media. He says Caveman Rick hates America. One of the best politicians I know. This man kicks babies, daggone.
I love America, but when it comes to sports like this, I mean, I don't like the Florida Panthers anyways. I'm not going to lie. I could care less about them. I'm not from around here originally, from up north, so
really?
and Florida. I mean, and so just recently, man, the Florida Panthers were pretty much a laughing stock for a long time, So I mean, you're gonna be there, maybe they can keep it up, maybe they don't. We'll see what happens, but.
James, who do you got winning Game 5? Text that in to us, 850-215-6290, or James, obviously.
But we know
comment
James
on Facebook.
Give me a hard time, Raz.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. All right, so moving on to a couple of baseball series here, some big ones. We've got the Yankees and the Red Sox, always one of the biggest series. Who do you think wins that series? Not just a game, but the series.
Yankees fairly
I'm going to take
easy.
Red Sox to win the series.
To win the series, really?
Yeah.
I would think maybe the Red Sox win the game, but I don't know. Yankees, man, they got a lot of firepower. Red Sox, not the cream of the crop in that division. So give me the Yankees.
All right, we'll split there. Then we'll go out west. This one, it's another rivalry: Giants and the Dodgers. Who do you have winning that series? Do you give it any chance for the Giants on the road?
Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, Dodgers probably take this. Then did they just start today, or did they play last night?
They'll play tonight.
So they start today. Okay. I got the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Yankees. Oh no! I don't know if the Giants or the Dodgers played. No, the Giants lost to the Rockies.
I thought they played yesterday. That's what I was saying. So that's what I was kind of wondering.
you meant did they play yesterday?
Yeah,
I thought you were saying did these.
I was pretty sure the Giants played yesterday. And I just couldn't remember who they played, and that's kind of
why.
Rockies.
Because
I had to bet. And they actually they lost that in the ninth, and the Giants should have won. I mean, it's the Rockies. Come on, dude.
We talked about Caitlin Clark coming back. So real quick, let's just pick the game in her return to the hard floor there for the Indiana Fever. Liberty, though, this is why I put it in. It's because the Liberty are undefeated, 9-0 to this point. They're on the road, though, taking on the Indiana Fever. That game will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Who do you like, Fever or the Liberty?
Liberty keep rolling, man, undefeated. I think Liberty got it.
I was hoping you were going to play protagonist, or, play the hero and pick. I don't know why in the world I would have thought you to take Caitlin Clark, So I was going to play devil's advocate and take the Liberty, which I felt like would have been a pretty good devil's advocate pick right there. But I'm going to keep it with you, though.
I don't like New York teams, being from Philly, and being a Jersey guy, but I will say, man, I had a bunch of, we don't a whole lot. So a lot of people on the show did about uniforms and stuff like that. I think the Liberty, though, they got some good-looking uniforms. I like the green, the Statue of Liberty color green. I think that pops really good, and
And that's coming from a Kelly Green aficionado as well. So, you're right, though. The Liberty do have some good fits. All right, some finals props. First, let's start with the game. Who wins tonight, Game 5, Thunder Pacers?
Oh, man, that's tough. I'm going to go... I'm gonna go Pacers, man.
Going Pacers?
It's in Indiana, man. You guys will have your couple ex-players show up. You don't have any other celebs or nothing else.
Terry
showing
Crews.
up.
Don't forget about Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. He's an ex-football player.
Yeah, there you go.
So I mean, like,
it all revolves around sports. Our biggest celebrity in the building is Caitlin Clark and Reggie Miller.
And then you got like McAfee, ex-football player.
Yeah,
so,
McAfee.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
no
it's all
matter what.
ex-athletes,
Peyton
man.
Manning could come up there. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going Pacers, but again, I'm going into this game as I do every game that's been in the Pacers playoff run this year. We're not the better team, but we've got a shot, and we played till the final whistle. So give me the Pacers by 3 tonight. Pacers by 3 tonight. Now we got some props for the games. The total is sitting at 228. They haven't been getting there. What about tonight? Over or under 228?
I'll do under.
I think I'm going to ride with it. I haven't made my parlay for tonight, so I'm kind of just taking in what we talk about right here, and then on the road, I'll think about it a little bit, and then right before that game starts, I'll put in my parlay tonight. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he was not over his point total last time. I believe he ended at 24. Tonight, they have him at 33.5.
I'm going to say under.
I'm going to say over for Shea tonight. As much as I hate to, I think he gets his. Halliburton, he had a nice game last game as well. His total tonight sitting at 18.5. Over, under for Tyrese Halliburton.
Under again.
I think I'm going to take the under for Tyrese Halliburton tonight, but he doesn't need to be. Mathurin. Huge points. 27 off the bench last week. One of only 3 players to do that since 2011 being Jason Terry. Mathurin over under 11.5 points.
I already got 2 under, so I got to go over because, I mean, some people got to be scoring some points.
I'm going to say he's going to be right there, but close to 10. I expect Nesmith to have the big game off the bench tonight. Well, not off the bench, but to not be Siakam or Tyrese Halliburton. Alex Caruso off the bench for the Thunder. Over under 9.5 points for him.
Over.
Over?
Yeah.
I'm going to go over for Caruso as well because of how well he shoots from the 3.
If the Pacers want to win, they got to try to, like, contain SGA and let everybody else, I think, beat them. So, like, if they can contain SGA, then, of course, everybody else is probably going to get some points.
Chet Holmgren to have a double-double, plus 150 for that one.
No.
I'm
going to say under on that.
I'm going to say no as well. And then this one's, it's not great value. I think he's at minus 115, but TJ McConnell had 5 steals in his previous game. Tonight, it's just a half a steal.
Get one, yeah.
Get one steal for TJ McConnell.
I mean, you can do that. Let's just get lucky just on a dumb play and just get one, you know?
I think that's a no-brainer to add to any one of your parlays. James Fife with Fife Sports Media says he has taken the Panthers in Game 5. Well, guys, thanks so much for another great week. Again, big shout-out to all the fathers out there. A specific shout out to my dad and my papa and my grandpa Hayes. Love you guys so much. Shout out to Will Hayes too for his first Father's Day coming up, and a belated Mother's Day to you, Mercy. Guys, for Bone Crusher, for Caveman Rick, I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Braves coming up next. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe. Buckle up, Buttercup. And just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday evening. As we head into tonight, very light showers and possible thunderstorms, and a low of 80 with a gentle breeze at 8 miles per hour coming out of the south.